Good morning, students. Saira. So let us start with our class. As you know that in the last video we have completed with the half portion of the chapter Jane Eyre at Lowood Institution, from which we come to know that Jane Eyre is the main character of the story. Her parents died when she was very small, and after that she used to live with her maternal uncle and aunt. Uncle used to love her a lot, but the aunt was not a good lady. Good lady, sorry. The name of the aunt was Mrs. Reed, and when her maternal uncle also died, Jane Eyre was living with her aunt Mrs. Reed, who was a very wealthy lady but was very bad because she never loved Jane Eyre and she made her to live a poor life. When after few days of her uncle's death, she was shifted to an institution named Lowood Institution, which was run by Mr. Brooklehurst. Mr. Brooklehurst was the principal of that institution, and Jane Eyre was given admission in that institution. She will live there forever till a young age. And Mrs. Reed did one very bad thing, what that she lied about Jane Eyre to Mr. Brooklehurst that she is not a good girl. She cheats with other, she tell lies. And with this, Mrs. Reed create an image of a bad girl in the eyes of Mr. Brooklehurst. One day, when Mr. Brooklehurst was taking round of the institution, Jane Eyre got very scared and she by chance broke her slate. For that, Mr. Brooklehurst scolded her and he insulted Jane Eyre in front of the whole class, telling that she is not a good girl and her aunt has told that you all should stay away from her. But she, when given admission to the school when she was new, she got so much love and affection from teachers and from her friends that she thought that now here she can live a very good life. But all these dreams were broken by Mr. Brooklehurst when he tells such a lied thing about Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre, after listening this, came to a very lonely room. There she sat in a corner and was crying very loud. Then entered her best friend Helen Burn. Helen Burn was her best friend and who satisfied Jane Eyre, saying that there are millions of people in this world, only 80 people will not decide your character. It is for few days that they will hate you, but after that, if you are doing good things, if you will do good in school, they again started loving you. So we have completed this much in the last video. Now let us begin ahead of that. So let us now begin with the reading of this chapter. I was silent. Helen had calmed me. I rested my head on Helen's shoulder and we reposed in silence. We had not sat long thus when another person came in. So here we come to know that Jane Eyre was calm now. She was not crying after listening to the words of Helen Burn, her best friend. And Helen Burn has given such a statements that she is calm now. She's not crying. And after that, what happened? She rested her head on Helen's shoulder and they were both silent. And in a few minutes, somebody else came there. I came on purpose to find you, Jane Eyre, said Miss Temple. Now, Miss Temple is a teacher of Jane Eyre and Helen, and she came into that room and she said, Jane Eyre, I came here to search for you. I was not able to find you anywhere, so I came here to search you. I want you in my room, and as Helen Burn is with you, she may too. Now, Miss Temple says to Jane Eyre that I want both of you to be in my room. We followed the superintendent's guidance and crossed some intricate passage before we reached her apartment. It contained a good fire and looked cheerful. Miss Temple, Helen Byrne to be seated in a low armchair on one side of the hearth and herself taking another, she called me to her side. Now, what happened? They both started to follow their teacher, the superintendent teacher, Miss Temple, and they both, before reaching her room, they have to pass with a passage. And she says when we enter in her room, there was a very good room. It looked very cheerful. A good fire was also there near the chimney, and Helen was asked to sit near a hearth. Hearth is a traditional oven, and she was given a seat there. And on the other side, Miss Temple sat on the chair, and I was asked to come to sit nearby her. So what happened? Jane Eyre went near to Miss Temple. Now what Miss Temple said? Let us read that. It is all over, she asked, looking down at my face. Have you cried your grief away? I am afraid I never shall do that. Why? Because I have been wrongly accused, and you, ma'am, and everybody else will now think me wicked. Now what happened? Miss Temple, with a very sympathetic voice and a very low voice, asked, Jane Eyre, did you cry after that incident? She said, yes, but I have to do that. I am afraid that I did that I cried. So Miss Temple asked, why? Why did you cry? She said that I was innocent. I am not a bad girl. Because I know after this, what Mr. Brooklehurst has said to you, nobody will love me now. And I am not a bad girl. Now let us begin reading. We shall think you what you prove yourself to be, my child. Continue to act as a good girl and you will satisfy us. So here Miss Temple says that we will judge you on the basis of what you do. If you will prove to be a good girl, we will love you. We will never follow the words of Mr. Brooklehurst. If you will continue to be a good girl, we all will love you. So try to be a good girl and satisfy us. Shall I, Miss Temple? You will, said she, putting her arm around me. So what she did, she hugged her and said, Jane Eyre said, ma'am, can I do this? Then Miss Temple replied, yes, you can. And she hugged her. Now tell me, who is the lady whom Mr. Brooklehurst called your benefactress? Now here, as you can see here, benefactress means a woman who gives money or other help to a person or an organization. So here Miss Temple is asking, who is your guardian? Who is giving money for you in the school? About whom Mr. Brooklehurst was saying in the class. Now let us see. Mrs. Reed, my uncle's wife. My uncle is dead and he left me to her care. Did she not then adopt you of her own accord? So here Jane Eyre replied to Miss Temple, ma'am, Mrs. Reed, my aunt, I am living with her after my uncle died. Now Miss Temple asks, did she adopted you as their own child? Now Jane Eyre said, no ma'am, she was sorry to have to do it. I have often heard that my uncle got her to promise before he died that she would always keep me. Now here she says that, ma'am, no, she didn't adopt me, and even she does not want to adopt me, because when my uncle was dying, he even took the promise from my aunt that you have to take care of me, but still she didn't keep me. Well, Jane, when a criminal is accused, he is always allowed to speak in his own defense. You have been charged with falsehood. Defend yourself to me as well as you can. Say whatever your memory suggests. Miss Temple tried to make Jane understand that whenever a criminal is accused, he is asked to defend himself. He is asked to give his own way of his crime. But now I want to ask you, as you are saying that this is a falsehood, this is false, Mr. Brooklehurst is being given a false information about you. Now try to tell me what is the truth. So Miss Temple is asking the truth from Jane Eyre. I resolved in the depth of my heart that I would be moderate, most correct. Having reflected a few minutes to arrange coherently what I had to say, I told her the story of my sad childhood. Exhausted my emotions, my language was more subdued than it generally was when it employed sad themes. And mindful of Helen's warning, then internally was it developed sorry, Helen's warning against the indulgence of resentment, I infused into the narrative far less of gall and woundwood than ordinary. I felt as I went on the Miss Temple fully believed me. So here Jane Eyre is tried to give explanation of his childhood, of his falsehood. She tells us that when I was trying to speak about myself, my voice got very low because I was feeling very sad. But I tried to just speak in front of Miss Temple because I was very sad. I was just about to cry. I collect all my emotions at that moment and I try to speak in front of Miss Temple. And here I tell all my sad story, all my sad childhood story to Miss Temple. And I was telling in such a way, it was not a normal way in which I was telling the story because I was feeling very sad at that moment. And even my voice was very low. Now she tells that I was telling the story and I believe that Miss Temple believes in me. So here the word is gall and wormwood. What does that mean? That means strong feeling of bitterness and resentment. Here it means that if a person is having a strong feeling about something, it might be the bitterness somebody has spread about that, and and that means that I am feeling that somebody has did for me, but now somebody is there to listen to me, and that was Miss Temple about Jane Eyre. Now what she says, in the course of the tale I had mentioned Mr. Lolliard as having come to see me after the fit, for I never forgot the frightful episodes of the Red Room, when Mrs. Reed had locked me in the dark and haunted chamber. After I finished, Miss Temple regarded me for a few minutes. Then she said, I know something of Mr. Lolliard. I shall write to him of his reply agrees with your statement. You shall be publicly cleared from every imputation. To me, Jane, you are clear now. So now here, as she was telling the story of her childhood, she mentioned one very famous incident when she was locked in a red room by her aunt. That was a scary room, a very horrible room, and there she was being locked. Though she has not done that mistake that was done by her children, but still she locked Jane Eyre in that room, and Mr. Lolliard came to rescue her there. So she tell that Miss Temple tell that yes, I know Mr. Lolliard and I will write this to him, and if he will give me the answer, then you will be clear from this falsehood or from this false allegations which are put on you by your aunt. And now, Jane, in my eyes you are clear. You are not a bad girl, you are a good girl. So these were the words of Miss Temple to Jane Eyre, that now for me you are clear. I don't have any other questions for you in my mind. For me, you are now clear. She kissed me and still keeping me at her side, where I was well content to stand, she proceeded to address Helen Burns. How are you tonight, Helen? Have you coughed much today? Not quite so much, I think, ma'am. And the pain in your chest, it's a little better. So now, as as Miss Temple hugged her and kissed her on her forehead, and still she was standing there with Miss Temple. And now Miss Temple started asking Helen some question. She asked Helen, Helen, how are you? What you did today? Is your cough all right? And how is the pain in your chest? And she said, ma'am, it's fine today. I am fine today. Now, the next page. Miss Temple was pensive for a few minutes. Then, rousing herself, she said cheerfully, but you two are my visitor tonight. I must treat you as such. She rang her bell. Now, Miss Temple was thinking very deeply something. Pensive means in a very deep thinking, and she was thinking. She said that for a few minutes she thought something very deeply, and after that she said that today you both came into my house, and today you are my guest, and I should treat you as that only. So she rang a bell. Miss Temple asked Barbara to get tea for all of us. Soon Barbara came in with a tray. How fragrant the stream of the beverage was! The scent of the toast, however, to my dismay, for I was beginning to feel hungry, I discerned only a very small portion. Miss Temple discerned it too. Okay. Now what happened, as Miss Temple ordered Barbara to bring tea and toast or some beverages, snacks for the girls, Helen and Jane Eyre. And after a few minutes, Barbara bought a tray in which she brings some beverages, some type of snacks like toast and all such things which are served with the tea. And there was a very good smell of the toast which Helen and Jane Eyre are able to smell. And what she said, for I was beginning to feel hungry, I discerned only a very small portion. Miss Temple discerned it too. So she was feeling very hungry at that moment because she didn't have anything from the evening. So she had a very small portion of that, and even Miss Temple also have small portion of everything. As Barbara withdrew, she added, smiling, fortunately, I have it in my power to supply deficiency for this one. Having invited Helen and me to approach the table and placing before each of us a cup of tea with one delicious. So now she said that I was able to see something on the tray. That was a very small amount that I could see on the tray. Even Miss Temple saw something. Discern means very small. So there was very small thing that they can see from a very far side. So as Barbara went out of the room, Miss Temple said that even I am able, fortunately, I am able to treat you in such a way. I am given so much power that I can treat you in this way. Now, now Miss Temple invite Helen and Jane Eyre to the table, and she started serving the food to them. First, she served the cup of tea with the thin morsel of toast. Morsel means a very small amount of toast. And after that, Miss Temple took out a good sized seed cake and proceeded to cut generous slices. Now Miss Temple started to cut the cake in very thin slices for the girls. We satisfy our famished appetite on the delicate fare she liberally supplied. So they both said now that we both are satisfied that whatever she served us, that was enough for us, and we loved that. After tea was over and the tray had been removed, Miss Temple again summoned us to the fire. We sat on each side of her, and now a conversation followed between her and Helen. It was indeed a privilege to be admitted to hear such a conversation. Now, after finishing their tea and toast, both the girls and Miss Temple went to the fireplace again. They sat there, and now a conversation was going on between Miss Temple and Helen. And Jane Eyre is saying here that I was very blessed to listen to such a conversation. Now, what was the conversation? Let us see. They conversed of things I had never heard of, what stores of knowledge they possess. Now she's saying they are very knowledgeable because they have a very sound knowledge about things. Even I have never heard about these things. So Jane is telling us that was she was seeing such a conversation between Miss Temple and Helen that she has never heard about such thing before. When the bell announced bedtime, Miss Temple embraced us both, says as she drew us to her heart, God bless you, my children. Now, in the hostel, the bell rang for the bedtime, that all the girls are allowed to go to the bed. And when that bell rang, Miss Temple said goodbye with beautiful words, and she said, God bless you, my children. About a week after this, Miss Temple, who had written to Mr. Lolliard, received his answer. Miss Temple, having assembled the whole school, announced that an improper had sorry that an inquiry had been made into the charges alleged against me, and that she was most happy to be able to pronounce me completely clear from every charge. The teachers then shook hands with me and kissed me, and a murmur of pleasure ran through the rank of my companion. Now, one day, what happened? Miss Temple, as she has said to Jane Eyre, that I will write to Mr. Lolliard about this false accusation which are put on you, and if you are being cleared from Mr. Lolliard also, then I will announce that in school. So she did the same. After 1 week, she announced that all the schools should come and assemble, and all were there. And she announced that whatever false accusation was there on Jane Eyre, they were all false, and there is nothing true, and she is free from that charges. And she was very happy. Jane Eyre was very happy because every teacher shook hands with her and they kissed her. Even the friends were very happy. They all came to meet her and hugged her. Thus received of a grievous load, I from that hour set to work afresh. I toiled hard, and my success was propinate to my efforts. In a few weeks, I was promoted to higher class. So after being free from all that accusation, she was very happy and she worked very hard, and even she got success. How? That she was promoted to the higher classes. That night, on going to bed, I forgot to prepare in imagination the Barmecide supply of her roast potatoes or white bread and fresh milk, with which I was wont to amused my inward craving. Instead, I feasted on the spectacle of freely penciled houses and trees and picturesque rocks, and ruin examined and thought the possibility of translating the French story which Madame Pierrot had showed me that day. I would not now have exchanged Lowood with all its privatation for great words and its daily luxurious. Now she at last tells us that at that night, when she was free from all that accusation, the word is used Barmecide, which means imaginary, and I was wont to means in the habit of doing something. So here she tells that I was very happy. I was imagining about the roasted potatoes, white bread, but still I had whatever is served in Lowood institution. Even on that day, I was not hungry so much because my hunger was satisfied with the imagination of when I started drawing, sketching in my sketchbook, and that day I was very happy. Even I translated the story in French language, which Madame Poiret has taught us. So this was the story Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I hope that you have understood the story. And if not, then go again to the videos, try to understand the character, that Jane Eyre is the main character. Her best friend is Helen Byrne. Then come her uncle and aunt, Mr. and Mrs. Reed, the principal of Lowood Institution, Mr. Brooklehurst, Miss Temple, Superintendent Guidance. Then comes the Mr. Lolliard. These are certain characters in this chapter which you should know thoroughly. Thank you, students.